Good day, Teacher Midge. Glad to meet you here. I am sorry. I missed today's class as I have overslept. I'm sorry again. I heard that you have explained about 2 principles of 12 principles on multimedia learning. I'm very much interested to know about the theories as I plan to integrate it in my thesis writing.
It's okay. Since you have came and meet me, I'm forgiving you. Instead proud to see an enthusiast standing in front of me. Let me explain about the principles. Come and sit here. In today's lesson I have focused on 2 of the 12 principles on multimedia learning that was developed by Richard Mayer. The 2 principles are redundancy principle and signaling principle. Let me explain about the redundancy principle first. This doesn't mean to repeat something over and over and over until the learner actually remembers of the materials given to them. He stated that people learn better from graphics and narration than from graphics and on-screen text.
What does that mean?
The redundancy principle states that learners can learn better with animation and narration, rather than learning from graphics, narration and on-screen text. This is due to reasoning that learners can only process one thing at a time. According to the cognitive theory of multimedia, adding redundant on-screen text to a multimedia presentation could overload the visual channel.
Ooh.
The cognitive theory of multimedia learning is based on 3 assumptions. First assumption is that all people have separate channels for processing verbal and pictorial material, while the second assumption is that each channel is limited in the amount of processing that can place at one time. Meanwhile, the third assumption is that learners actively attempt to build pictorial or visual and verbal models from the presented material and build connections between them. When a learner watches a video, the narration enters the cognitive system through the ears and is processed in the auditory verbal channel. Simultaneous, the on-screen text or printed words enters through the eyes and will be processed in visual pictorial channel. And animation or picture also enters through the eyes and will be processed in visual pictorial channel. Animation and on-screen text goes through the same channel. Let's say, if a presentation is going too fast or the material is new, the learners will experience cognitive overload, and narration happens if only there is a minimal chance for overload, meaning that there is more chance to engage appropriately in cognitive processing.
Teacher, can you describe how the principles can be used in an e-learning environment?
Firstly, by applying this principle, educators can prevent cognitive overload their learners. Applying this principle can help students learn and understand the content that is being taught. At the same, students don't waste all their time comparing printed words with spoken. Therefore, educators need to avoid narrating on screen when words and pictures simultaneously at a fast pace.
Thank you. Now I have understood about the redundancy principle.
Great. Now let we dive into the signaling principle. It's a strategy that helps learners highlight useful information. Research shows that people learn better when cues are added that guide learners' attention to the relevant elements of the materials. It could be as simple as, like using bold text or color. Signaling reduces extraneous processing by guiding the learner's attention to the key elements in the lesson and guiding the learner's building of connections between them. Signaling the verbal material includes adding cues such as signal with arrows or circles. For text, use highlighting, headers and bullets to signal importance. Using vocal emphasis with audio also signals importance. Pointing gestures may be an effective form of visual signaling when the learner might not otherwise know where to look on the screen.
Now I understand. But how to use signaling principle in e-learning?
Educators should use signaling principles by thoughtfully highlighting important words. Use animated arrows and annotations to call out important information. Another way is by having slides or scenes that clearly separate sections. This is a quick, easy way to signal to the learner that their teacher is moving on to the next topic.
Thank you, teacher. I'm so excited to learn the other principles and can't wait for tomorrow's class.
Great. Make sure you set your alarm